Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and another video in my Christmas in July mini-series for paper crafters. In this video we're going to be making 2 layered Christmas cards. The first is this beautiful cardinal design. Out of the 2 cards, this is the one with the most layers, so it's a little bit more complex to make than the other one, but still pretty straightforward even if you're brand new to Cricut crafting. The second design is this Merry Christmas one, and this is a little bit shiny. You can probably get all of my lights in the reflection because I've used mirror card to make it that little bit extra special. Let's get started at making some Christmas cards in July. You can download the free cutting file for this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-svgs or follow the link in the description of this video to go straight to the download page. The download comes in a zip folder and you need to unzip this before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space. Once you've downloaded the files and unzipped the folder, open up Cricut Design Space and start a new project. Go into Upload over on the left and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the file on your computer or you can drag and drop it in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the folder, and then within there are 2 separate folders inside, one for the cardinal card and one for the Merry Christmas card. I'm going to use the cardinal card for this tutorial as it's got a few more layers in it just to show you the more complex file, but all the steps I'm about to do will work exactly the same for the Merry Christmas card. So I'm going to go into the cardinal card folder, and then the file to upload into Design Space is the one which starts SVG in the file name. Make sure you choose that one because the other files won't work correctly in Design Space. So I'm going to click and drag that in, and then it should look like this with all of the layers one on top of the other. If your card looks different and you can see the layers all next to each other separately instead, that means you've accidentally uploaded the wrong file. So if that's the case, click cancel down on the bottom right and then try again and make sure you choose the one which starts SVG. I'm going to go ahead and press upload, and then it will appear in your recent uploads, so you can click on it and then press add to canvas. You'll then see all of the layers split out down the right hand side of the screen. There are quite a few, as I said, for this cardinal card, but the Merry Christmas card has much less. By default, my SVG files do not come with score lines on the card, and that's because Design Space doesn't understand if you want it to do a score line when you just upload an SVG. So if I'd have tried to do that, you would have had to manually convert it to a score line, and if you didn't do that, then you would have had just a random cut down the middle of the card, which would not have been good. So I leave them off so that you can choose if you want to add that score line yourself, or if you just want to cut it as is and then fold it in half by hand. If you do want to add the score line, here's how to do it. First, click on the card design and then press Ungroup at the top of the Layers panel. Scroll down to the bottom and then hide the base card by clicking the eye icon next to it. Press Select All to select all of those other layers and then group them again. And we're doing that so that we can just hide them in one click, just like that, by clicking the eye. And then we can turn the base card back on by clicking the eye icon next to that one and make our score line on this one without affecting any of those other layers. Go into Shapes and then choose a score line. Make it the same height as the card, so mine will be 7 inches. If you're doing the Merry Christmas card, which is a landscape card, then you'll need to rotate the score line, and to do that, simply type 90 into that rotate box at the top and then press enter and it will rotate it to a horizontal line. But I'm going to undo that because for this card, I need it to be vertical. There we go. Alright, so next we need to move this score line so that it's exactly down the middle of the base card. Press Select All and then go into Align and Center. That score line is now slap bang in the middle. However, we're not quite finished yet Because if we were to click Make It Now, you'll see it's going to do that scoreline on a completely different piece of card than the one we actually want to do it on. Let's fix that. So I'm going to click Cancel, press Select All again. So now I've got my base card and my scoreline selected. And then down the bottom of the Layers panel, press Attach. Attach is what tells the Cricut where we want it to do that scoreline. So now when I click Make It, you see it's doing that scoreline where it's supposed to. Now I just need to turn the other layers back on. So in the top of the group that contains the card layers, click that eye icon and they'll all come back. We can't see them at the moment because when you attached the layers, it moved the base card to the top. To fix that, with the base card selected, go into Arrange, Send to Back. You can position these back on if you want to, but it doesn't actually really matter. It's just how it appears on the screen. But I like to have mine looking exact before I cut it out. I don't know why, it's just something I like. So the easiest way to do that is to press Select All and then go into Align, Align Top, and Align Right. And now that's positioned those layers perfectly on top of that base card again. This is now ready to cut, so I can click Make It, and it will split everything out into the different colours. If you want to change the paper size, you can do that in the drop down here, and you will have to change it for every single colour. One thing I like to do to save my space is to rotate some of these shapes around. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and then pull the Rotate button and move that up there. And then for the eye of the cardinal, I'm just going to drag that into this empty space, which otherwise would have ended up as wasted cardstock. In fact, I might even put it in that space there so that I could use this scrap for another project. By rotating this layer, it means that now I'm going to have half of my sheet of A4 paper left ready to use in a different project. So go ahead and work through every colour until you're happy with how it's all looking. Then click Continue and follow the on-screen instructions to cut everything out with your Cricut machine. I'm going to cut out both the cardinal cards and the Merry Christmas card so that I can show you how to stick each of them together in the next part of this video. Here are my two cards and I've cut them all out, and then I've just placed the layers one on top of the other so that I can check I'm happy with the colours and also that I haven't accidentally missed anything. Let's start with the Merry Christmas. So here it is, and I'm not sure if you can quite see, but I cut that middle layer out of gold holographic card or mirror card, and it gives it a lovely shine, especially when the light catches it. I've already folded my base card in half along that score line that we set up, so now I just need to stick my 3 layers. I'm going to use foam squares for some of them and glue for others. So for this bottom layer, it is up to you. You could use foam for it, but I'm going to glue it because the gaps in this are quite small and I'm a bit worried that if I used foam, you're just not quite going to see that bottom green because of all the shadowing. So for this one, I will glue it. The glue I'm using is called Kalal, and I put it into these needle tip applicator bottles. I really like this glue because it doesn't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like some other glues can do. I actually don't remember if I've turned this upside down. Let's just check because I don't want to... no, I haven't. Okay, good. Or... No, okay. Oh dear. Yeah, I don't want to stick it and then realise that I've done it the wrong way around. So I'm just going to add my glue around here in all these little gaps. And this layer is really just giving us an extra bit of depth to the background because it's creating the rectangle of the darker green around the edge, just to make it look that little bit more detailed. Okay, the next layer is the Merry Christmas. Oh, you can see the shininess now. You can see my camera. Oh dear, you'll probably see my reflection in a minute. For this one, I'm going to use some foam squares for a nice pop of dimension. If you wanted to make a flat card so that it was cheaper to post, then you could glue this layer instead. But I like a little bit of pop to the cards. As well as putting the foam squares around the edge, you want to make sure you also get some in the middle. And that's because if there weren't any in the middle, then you'll find the card will sort of dome downwards where there's nothing to support it because of the depth on the outside. So by putting the foam squares in the middle bits as well, you're giving it that nice stable level that means it will be perfectly aligned all the way across, and you'll just get a much better look to your card. Just making sure all these little bits have got a foam square in, and then I'm going to peel the tops off to reveal all of the stickiness underneath. Now this is all nice and sticky, I'm going to line it up and then gently drop it down without actually putting any pressure on the foam squares yet. Like that. And that's so I can check I'm happy with how it is all lined up before I press it down. So if I hadn't have quite done it right, I could have just picked it up and moved it without damaging anything. There's my nice shiny layer. And then for this one, because it's so narrow in all of the letters, I am going to glue it. Let's turn it over and add some glue. And this is where these little bottles become really helpful. Ooh, got a little thread of glue there, that was strange. Don't normally get that. Yeah, so this becomes really helpful because you can get the glue easily into all of these little spaces without getting any on the work surface. And it only lets out a little bit of glue at a time, which is perfect for card making because you don't want to completely soak the card. If you're feeling particularly brave, you could try and use foam squares for this, but you will have to cut them small, and I think you'll struggle a little bit getting them in the text so that it doesn't do that doming down where the text is. But if you are up for a challenge, then you could certainly give it a go. Just got that bell left. And now I'm ready to stick this on. Trying to pick it up without getting glue all over my fingers. And it just goes on. I'm going to gently press it down. I don't want my glue to smush out the sides. And you know what? I've just realised I'm missing the eye on my Merry Christmas. Oh no, I must have lost it in between cutting it out and bringing it over here. So I'm going to pause this video and have a little look around my craft room and see if I can find that dot, but if not, then I will have to recut a new one. But I will be back very shortly to make up the cardinal card. We're now moving on to the cardinal design, and to stop me having that same problem of losing the little pieces, I have already glued the two eye bits on and also the two beaks. So if I just get that a little bit closer so you can see, I've just glued the eye on. So the white one first, then the black one, and then the two layers of the beak. They're all just glued onto that black layer. All right, so let's move this apart. I'm going to start with this layer, which I'm going to use my foam squares for. These particular foam squares are only 1 millimeter thick, so they are really good for card making as they give it some depth and dimension, but it still means that the card doesn't get so thick that it costs a lot of money to post it, because I hate when I've done a card and it ends up needing a large letter stamp, because they're really expensive these days, especially at Christmas time when you're sending a lot of cards. So using 1mm foam squares is a great way to keep the layering, but without too much that it becomes expensive. They are a little bit trickier to peel the backs off though. So let's just work through all of these. Just like with the Merry Christmas card, I've put my foam squares in the middle as well as around the edge to make sure it's got enough to hold it all really sturdily. And let's check that's the right way around. And then I'm going to line this up and then just gently drop it down to check I'm happy with the positioning before I actually stick it. There we go. It's a little bit off, but I think I can get away with that. The next layer is this one to make the darker red for the wing, and I'm going to glue this one. You could use foam if you're not too worried about your card getting thick, but I'm going to glue it. Next, there's a little bit of black to go on the face. And again, I'm going to glue this on because I want it to look like the bird's quite far back compared to the tree branch. So lots of glue on that one. And it's still got some dimension because you've got 2 layers for the eye and the beak, so it pops out a little bit. The next layer is this white one to make the snow, which I'm going to foam on. Then once again, now I've got all that foam, I'm going to line it up, gently drop it, and then push down when I'm happy. Next, we've got the holly leaves and the tree branch, and this one I'm going to use my foam again for one more little pop of dimension. Let's line this up and then push down to seal all of that stickiness. The last big layer is the detail of the holly on top, which will be a glue layer. I love this card, there's so much dimension in it and it's really pretty. I think it'll be a great Christmas card. Get that on there. Oh, I got a bit of glue on the front of the card. I'm sure I can probably find something to stick over that. No one will know. The last thing to add is the little holly berries. And again, I'm going to just foam these, but this is getting a little bit thick, so you might want to glue them instead. The trickiest bit is getting these the right way around. There. And that's my cardinal card, all finished with all of those lovely, lovely layers in it. If you like this cardinal card, then check out the description of the video, as I've included the link to the matching layered design from my shop. So it is very similar, but there's much more detail in this. If I hold it up, you can see all of that beautiful pattern in the cardinal, which isn't in the simplified card design. But they would make a lovely matching set, perhaps if you put this one in a shadow box, a frame, or something like that. So this one is available in my SVG shop, and I'll drop the link in the description. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make these 2 layered Christmas cards. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts, including more Christmas designs coming very soon, even though it's July and it's summer and very warm. But let's start Christmas early so that we're all nice and ready ahead of the season. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!